All right. So tonight's topic, the Pendragon Cycle, the rise of the Merlin. I think they got to shorten that title up a little bit.
Yeah.
I understand why they did the Pendragon Cycle because it's the name of the book series. But like, and I think you had to put it on there so people go, "Oh, it's the book series." But like, I almost wish it was just the Pendragon Cycle, or it was just the Rise of the Merlin. Like, it's way too long of a title.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I knew the first time I was making a thumbnail with it on there, I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
So, but I think that's probably the worst thing I have to say about the show. It's it's very good. So let's jump right in. What are your thoughts? Just your immediate thoughts that you would tell someone if they were trying to decide whether to watch Pendragon Cycle.
I have been really, I was skeptical about what the quality of this was going to be. But man, the acting has been really top notch.
Well,
And
yeah,
while sometimes I feel like the script adaptation is not 100% consistent, I feel like the story I feel like I think the story is a really effective blend of history and fantasy. And which is what I really was I was really hoping was going to be what we would get whenever they decided to make a Winter King series, which is
Yes.
also a King Arthur adaptation. But there were just it wasn't a very good adapt. Now I haven't read these books, so I can't speak to how they are as an adaptation of the books, but the story is definitely been engaging, and I always appreciate well-researched historical information.
yes,
Even though some of the characters they've used differently than they are depicted, like in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle or other documents like that. Most of these, pretty much all of these characters that they're pulling in are
their names from the histories
they're names
of
from
the region.
histories, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of things. I mean, obviously you're going to look at this and you're going to go, "Well, these armors aren't historically accurate."
But
And you go,
also
"But it's fantasy.
It's a fantasy.
It's like you have to allow for that. And let's be honest, like the armors they came up with look way cooler than anything they would have shown if they had gone for like super realistic. I mean, honestly, super
Roman armor
realistic.
looks pretty good.
The Roman armor does look good, but like armor for like the Britons at that point in history, especially
leather.
initially, it's just leather.
Yeah.
Which
leather
we've seen on the Saxons to some extent, but they did put some of the characters in a little more Roman armor, which is also okay at this point in history.
Oh no! But the characters that we're seeing in Roman armor are Roman. They're in fact
I think the brothers, the two brothers, Uther, and
Roman.
they're Roman.
They're Romano British.
Well, that's just what they called the Britons after Roman. The Roman.
Well, no, but I think that they are.
Well, they've been
think
referred to a number of times as the rightful, people of this land.
Right, but by this point, the Romans had been there like 400 years. They were pretty well entrenched as. And this is the 5th century. The
Yeah.
Romans had been there since, like, what? Julius Caesar
Was 4th
came,
century,
saw,
right?
he conquered.
4th century,
In like
4th century,
60
right?
something. The first stretch is 4th century. The second stretch is 5th century.
Okay.
But like that was
Well, no,
like
I mean,
60 something
right.
AD. BC rather,
Yeah.
right? Somewhere in there.
Right. So I guess my point was that generally speaking, and I don't know what they mean for those characters to be, but Romano British is a historical reference to. Sorry, I'm getting weird and historical nerd tonight, but that's the historical name for what the Britons were called after years of Roman occupation.
But I do think that those characters are intended to be like they're very clearly like all indications are that they are Roman. You know, they've got Roman armor,
Well,
they've got Roman helmets.
Right,
like,
but
and
at this
I'm
point,
pretty-
if they've been fighting on the side of the Romans against the Picts and stuff. At this point, it would also make sense for them to potentially be wearing,
yeah, but
especially being
I
the leaders of clans.
yeah, but I did a little bit of poking into the source material, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they are.
Okay, that's fine.
supposed to
Like I
be
said,
like
I don't know the
descendants.
source material. When I initially went looking for the source material, when they first announced this, it was hard to get. They've been out of print for years.
Yeah.
Of course, they're back in print now, but I was a little irritated when I went looking for them the other night, and all I could find was trade paperbacks.
Yeah, gotta love that.
I don't buy trade paperbacks because you can't see my shelf, but I keep my books forever, and trade paperbacks just turn orange.
It's true.
Lovely shade of orange.
Although you do still have a couple down there, a couple Dune books, I think, that are trade.
I have a couple
paperback.
of Dune books, and I have a couple of Star Wars books up there that are trade
Probably only ever
paperbacks.
came in trade paperback. Those.
Those Star Wars books?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think most of those came in a hardback, but they were short runs and limited numbers. And
You can probably get them pretty cheap on eBay these days.
that's true. I need at this point. I think a lot of these newer Star Wars books are going to start finding their way onto eBay and and be replaced with better copies of some of the Legends books.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not
some
one of
of-
these people that's like, oh, Legends. Like I only believe, Legends is the only Star Wars. No, I mean, or the expanded universe, but they are better. They don't have to be they don't have to be canon, but they are better. There are some good ones, but
it's very uneven.
but overall, when I read the Aftermath books, I didn't love them. I liked things about them. I didn't love them, and I never thought that however many years later we are now, that I would be looking back and going, oh, they really are the best, the best of the new Star Wars books, other than the stuff Timothy Zahn's written, of course.
Master and Apprentice was pretty.
And that's the thing. We got 6 Timothy Zahn books in the new canon.
Yeah.
Like that's not
That's
nothing.
nothing to complain about. But yeah, a couple of them are great, and a lot of them are really indifferent, which is fine. But all that to say,
Yeah.
you can only buy them in trade paperback. So yeah, like I think that sometimes the writing feels a little bit uneven,
I agree.
which is a shame for a project this expensive. But I think that's also the nature of the producer, creator, writer, director. Those kinds of that's what happens with those kinds of projects.
Yeah.
Is that there's one person who is like there's not a whole lot of check on there's not necessarily a lot of checks and balances on quality control because the person doing the writing is the person making the decisions.
Yeah. Though I do think I think 3 of the first 4 episodes are written by Jeremy Boring, because he wrote 3.
Yeah, I think the first 3 episodes.
Okay. So, so we'll see how it feels now moving into several other writers. But I believe we actually have 3 different directors too. So we'll see. I hope it remains consistent enough. But I think a lot of the places where sometimes the writing feels uneven, sometimes to me, it doesn't, I don't know. And I don't know exactly what you mean when you say uneven. So for me, sometimes there are parts that feel clunky.
Yes.
There are moments
Sometimes
that
the
just
dialogue is
needed a
clunky.
little streamlining.
Yes. Sometimes I feel like,
Like they needed a punch up writer.
yeah.
Like they needed that person to just kind of fine tune that dialogue.
Yes, and it's mostly, it's nothing like huge and glaring. It's just like it could have used a little finessing. The
Yeah.
script could have used a little more
Now,
finessing.
what I will say though is sometimes that feels worse depending on which character is delivering the lines, because some of these actors
Yeah.
are absolutely crushing this.
Yeah, the actor who did Taliesin was just, I've never seen him in anything ever. And I watch a fair amount of British TV. But man, oh man, James Arden absolutely crushed it.
I don't really know anything he's been in, and it's very, and by saying things he's been in is,
One episode of a couple of things.
yeah, this guy's a star.
Yeah. I think so.
This guy is like, don't be at all surprised if one of the big franchises goes after him in the next few years.
Yeah.
He's a star, and he's not the only one.
No. I think that the actor that is playing Merlin,
Yeah, Tom Sharp.
Tom Sharp, I think, really has the potential to go places. He is really, really been very strong.
Yeah, and I mean he's done nothing but a few shorts, really.
Yeah, apparently he was like a self-submitted tape.
Yeah,
Like didn't even have an agent. I bet he does now.
I'm sure I hope he does.
Because yeah, he has really been impressive. And honestly, this is the sort of decisions that I always hope that these kinds of shows will make. The shows that are, low budget stuff, it's like I really want them to find the next standout. And I wish that they would put more energy in general, these kinds of, shows that don't have the budget for like the most famous people. Like, there's so many talented people. There are so many talented actors.
It's
like, go find the person that hasn't just made it
yeah.
yet.
Well, I mean the guy that's playing Uther. Mm-hmm. I mean he's got a long list on IMDb, but it's all these, like, I guess they're British mini series and stuff. Mm-hmm. A bunch of weird stuff that probably no one's ever heard of. I don't know that there's really anybody in here that's...
No, the only actor that was familiar to me was the actor who played it's not Vercingetorix, it's another V. King. Whose name I just can't remember. Oh,
Vortigern.
Yeah, Vortigern. I've definitely seen him on a bunch of stuff. Wearing literally the worst bald cap I have ever seen.
Yeah.
In my entire life. Honestly, that's probably my biggest...
He was Pope in Falling Skies.
Uh-huh, and he was also on Stargate. He was Major Davis on Stargate.
He was.
That's why I recognize him.
But Pope was a great character on Falling Skies, too. I mean, he's a good actor.
Uh-huh. But, honestly, probably my single biggest complaint of the series so far was the hair and makeup choices that they made for him in that episode.
Yeah, there's a few hair and makeup choices. His is probably the most egregious.
Like, distracting to watch.
Yes. But there's a couple of the druids that have had just... It's like you look at them and you go, what did y'all do to that guy? Like, it just shouldn't be that obvious somebody's wearing a bald cap, for starters.
Yeah. Just don't. Just don't.
Yeah. It just... There's a few times... But overall, I think it looked, most of the hair makeup choices look great.
Now
But
the wigs on the Atlantean women are phenomenal. I assume that they're wigs, but
yeah,
their hair is on point always.
yeah,
Whoever was responsible for that, kudos to them. It's very nice.
for sure.
And the costumes, so I feel like I'm giving this one a pass that I did not give Winter King on the costumes, because this one is so much more overtly fantasy.
Yes.
I mean, like this has Atlanteans in it.
Right.
Like,
It's strictly. I mean, it is very specifically a fantasy sword and sandals.
yeah.
And as far as sword and sandals television shows, this one's not over. They can screw it up,
Yeah.
but when it's all said and done, this one's going to be way up there at the top of the list, I believe.
I think they're doing a very nice job with it so far. Now, considering the budget, I did find some of this, specifically the CGI in Atlantis, to be kind of lackluster.
Yeah, I can see that. I think
I mean,
that
if they were making the episodes,
Are
for
you
100,000
specifically you talking about the destruction?
Yes.
See, I just sort of leaned on that as a sort of a fantasy, like a little less than realistic. It did not bother me one bit, and normally I would be the one nitpicking the CGI, and it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
Yeah. And honestly, if if they were doing this for $50,000 an episode, I would be like, kudos you. But at more than $1 million an episode, you kind of,
yeah.
But maybe that money went into salaries for cast and crew
Hopefully.
instead of CGI. And if that's the case, then kudos to them. I kind of suspect
Well,
that it's not, but
Yeah. So I'm sort of hesitant to give the CGI too hard. Look, the budget's still less than that last season, I believe, of the Orville, a show that I absolutely adore. And the CGI in this is way better than anything than most of the CGI in the Orville. Now, that being said,
this
some
last
CGI.
season-
The ships and stuff in Orville as good as any Star Trek ever made. They're phenomenal. But there's some other things with the CGI that every once in a while you go, now, like, that last season, that space battle and stuff that we opened up with, I mean, that's movie level stuff. But I don't know. The CGI didn't bother me, but yeah, it would be interesting to know one of those things. Well, I don't know. We might be able to actually see the full budget on this eventually, because some of I think this was mostly made in Hungary, and some of those places over there, they're required to disclose all that.
yeah.
So it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see where that over $10 million went. The thing is I suspect they had an army of costumers and hair and makeup people.
Oh yeah, for this kind of show you have to.
So I suspect a lot of money went to crew. And it also
Although
probably
they also
depends on
made
how
it-
much crew they hauled with them.
Not much. Almost all of it is local.
Well, that may explain the bald cap issue, some of the issues with making certain things look good. They may just not have had the experience on their crew. But costumes, especially the main character costumes, phenomenal.
Yeah. Acting's been very solid.
Taliesin is his costume was great.
Yeah. The harp playing could have been modicum more convincing, but that's just because of the harp player.
I was going to say you're going to nitpick that.
I'm always going to nitpick the instrumentalist on anything, and I'm like, eh. I mean, he looked like he at least somebody showed him how to play the instrument, which is a big step up from a lot of things.
Yeah.
But he clearly didn't go to harp playing school to learn how to do that convincingly.
Right.
Which again, it's a TV show, not a movie, so generally isn't the budget for that kind of time.
Yeah. But one of the things you talked about as we first watched it, the jump from episode 2 to 3, the time jump.
Yeah.
You had some comments on that, so I'll let
So,
you.
the first couple of episodes, the first two episodes, center around Taliesin, who's a bard of great renown, right? And then there's kind of a, and then we switch to Merlin's story in episode 3, and honestly, is wonderful as the actor who did Taliesin, and as much as I enjoyed the storyline, I think it felt like either a ridiculously long prelude or
Which is
way
what it
too
was.
short of a sequel. I feel like tone wise for the series, it would have been better to tell more of that story, make that the first season, because here's the thing though, that's the first book
That's the
as
first book.
Taliesin. And so the fact that they condensed that into 2 episodes and then did Merlin for, and I understand why they wanted to do Merlin in the first season, but just I felt like the pacing between episode 2 and then episode 3, it didn't feel like one season of a show. It felt just a little, it felt a little, is looking at the whole thing kind of as an arc. It felt kind of jarring the way, the exact kind of way that they split it up to me.
Yeah, and I think I understand why they did it. One, they couldn't. They're too small of a studio to guarantee a second season. And so you have to make a decision there of how you're going to, like, I agree. I would have loved to have seen a whole season of the characters from the first 2 episodes. I would have liked that.
Yes. And they also could have done a little bit of a better job giving you, because there were like a lot of like time jumps and flashbacks and things that weren't necessarily, it wasn't super clear. And having read enough scripts.
And time jumps can be jarring enough.
Right, but having read enough scripts with flashbacks and time jumps, those get very hard to follow. Usually, there are usually conventions to kind of doing, they'll do something like slightly different with the coloring or the lighting or the tone, something to give you a clear indication we're out of our main timeline. And so it was a little hard to follow, especially, and there were some plot points that I think were like dropped one time and then weren't picked back up, like lifespan of Atlanteans. It was like mentioned, but it wasn't really fleshed out very well.
It's not fleshed out well, and I guess what I find about the whole thing with the clearly long-lived Atlanteans over here is that they're not just this constant marvel to all of the other people, to the Britons.
Well, they're fairies.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're like, when they meet them, they're not just like,
Super impressed.
You're right.
And I do feel like that's another thing that tonally I felt like was a little uneven, was they didn't necessarily like exactly, they keep talking about the Kingdom of Summer, but there's a little bit like, okay, so what exactly, there's a lot of questions that are not necessarily set up well.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so spoiler here. When Merlin goes to this town, the king is kind of freaked out to see him, and someone's like, oh, that's because he's the rightful king of this place. And you're going, what?
Right.
Why is he the rightful king of this place? Where is he? Like, there's no...
I think we're going to still get filled in on some
I
of that
think
stuff,
that we
but it does
will.
make it feel really disjointed.
But it doesn't make it feel like a mystery. It just makes you feel like, wait, what did I miss?
Yeah, it's
I feel like there's been a lot of conversation we're watching it. You're like, wait a minute, what did I miss? Like,
yeah, and then you're like, you didn't miss anything.
you didn't miss anything. They just haven't told us. But it's not really. They're not really framing it well enough as a mystery to kind of make it like a mystery box. But they're also just like, it feels like there's just information missing.
Yeah,
Which I think they're trying to set it up as like a question that they're going to answer, but they're not framing it well enough. They're not making it
Right.
clear enough that that's what it is. You're just going,
right.
then
And they
you're
can
on the internet trying to go like, wait, what did I miss?
and they can fix some of it by answering it before the end of the show, but it still won't make it feel less disjointed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's there.
So it's definitely we've gotten spoiled to storytelling on television,
We have.
and
But I don't think this is bad. I don't want it to sound like I think this is bad.
no, but I
Because we're
just
being a
think-
little nitpicky here.
Yeah, we are. But also, I think that they kind of sort of stepped into the premium television game with this one.
Yes.
But they didn't necessarily match the bar of necessarily storytelling. So there are definitely some things that it feels like it could have been tweaked just a little bit, and it really could have soared even
Agreed.
beyond the
Agreed.
quality that they are undeniably bringing. Like there's definitely things that they're doing well, but I feel like some of those confusing things may affect their viewer retention.
Possibly, yeah. I can see that. But overall, like I said, I don't want it to sound like I didn't love the show. So far, I'm really loving the show.
Yeah, I really am enjoying it. I've been when we get done, I'm like, I would like to see what happens next.
Yeah.
We are not talking. Actually, you got him. We're not talking about the Acolyte. It's shocking.
I mean, this is like the first time in months I haven't done an episode about the Acolyte. We are talking about the Pendragon Cycle, which unfortunately will have limited viewership because of where it's at. I think that's kind of the biggest tragedy of this thing is this is a really, really strong entry into the sword and sandal fantasy genre.
And I think it's a shame that because just of the nature of kind of what Jeremy Bowen kind of likes to do is he sort of marketed it a little divisively, and then having it on a streaming service that a lot of people just are not going to
Don't have and aren't going to
subscribe
get.
aren't
And so
gonna get.
unless these are available eventually somewhere else, then, they're going to largely, a huge portion of the population, they're basically just inaccessible.
Yeah. Which is never wise to just.
And I mean, this is like something like, I've never gone and gotten this. I went and paid for the time just to watch this show.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to pay for. But this show was far too in the realm of what we do here to not watch it. And it's an incredibly strong contender in the genre for TV. Super strong acting. These actors are going places.
Yeah. I agree.
Several of them. The Rose Reed that's playing Cheris is doing a good job, but Emery Franklin that's playing Morgan.
Yeah.
I mean, she's scary as hell.
It is scary.
But she's killing the role. So, and anxious to see. I know Brett Cooper's she's kind of made some appearances, but she's
Yeah.
not really there yet. So I'll be curious to see her character as she comes in, and
Overall, whoever their casting director was
killed it.
Their casting director was on point.
They're not just that, like aesthetically, the people that, the art director, the design costume designer, they all killed it.
Yeah.
Everybody brought their A game on this.
Yeah.
And the cinematography's fantastic.
Yeah, the cinematography has been
And I don't know who is the
director of photography. I'm pretty sure their DP is
gosh, that's a lot of producers.
yeah. Well, that's how these kinds of things go. All the producers.
Christopher Kimlin.
I don't know him at all.
Oh,
he
it's
did
the guy from House of David. There you go. Because
Okay.
I've had nothing but good things to say about House of David. He only did 4 episodes, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful cinematography on that one as well.
He hasn't done a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. He's done quite a lot.
I mean,
Well, not a lot as a DP.
yeah, I mean, a lot of
he was
these
the
are.
second unit DP, so this is
He's
his,
mostly been a camera operator, and then he's lights.
yeah. So he's
key
been a grip. He's been a yeah. He's been running about the camera department, but is this his first DP job? He was the second unit DP for a couple of episodes of House of David, but that is a totally different ball game than being the DP on a multi-million-dollar
This
show.
looks like he was a DP on one episode of some TV series that doesn't even have a thumbnail image.
Yeah, he's been a second unit DP on a couple of things, but anyway,
He's good.
He's doing a really nice job. The visuals are spot on, which I'll take because I like me pretty entertainment.
He did the Wolf and the Lion from season 1 of House of David. Mm-hmm. There's some gorgeous shots in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. He hasn't done a tremendous amount as a DP, but he's clearly capable.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the best boy? I wonder. I don't know. I'm sure the best boy is Hungarian. He did it in Hungary, right?
I believe it was mostly filmed in Hungary.
Yeah. What is a best boy? Can you tell us what a best boy is? I'm sure you can. Yeah, like when I first started working in movies, I was
Hungary, Budapest, Trento, Preveno, Gran Sasso Mountains, all over the place.
Yeah.
Rome.
In Europe, of course, because that's where everybody's doing these days.
That might be starting to flip back this way.
I would.
Well, I mean, things seem awfully busy around here right now.
The guy in charge of tripods. That's my favorite description ever. Absolutely. The guy in charge of tripods. Perfect.
What's his name that played Biff in
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm. Tom something. I don't remember.
Well, what else? What else do we need to say about?
No, I mean, like you said, it's one, and I feel like this is just like another example of, like, I understand people want to make like the thing that will convince people to subscribe to their whatever their streaming service is, but golly, can't we just all agree to like make our stuff available?
I never thought I'd miss cable, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, like,
we're right back in the same boat. You just have to pay for it all separately, and it ended up costing us more than satellite did.
It's just
this went this way because of escalating satellite and cable costs.
Right. And I feel like, okay, so like House of David, they did for like the first 3 months was only available on their like premium, Amazon channel.
Yeah.
But now it's on regular Amazon Prime and you can just watch it.
So if you haven't watched House of David because it
should.
was on something you didn't have, it's on Amazon now, and
Yeah.
it's
Excellent.
excellent show.
Yeah, we were 100% duped. And I'm getting just kind of tired of like, oh, we have this show, but it's only on our platform. It's like, I don't want your platform. I don't want all of these different platforms. You know what? I just want to be able to buy my show on whatever freaking.
Well, for a long time when in the early days of streaming, not really that long after we got married, and we didn't have the money to get all the things, we would just go, "Hey, I really want to watch that show. Let's just buy it on." We would buy it on
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
But now you can't even do that.
Not with some of these.
A lot of them you can't even, because they're, some kind of exclusive. And
well, it's like our cable company, our local cable company. I haven't had them in years, but like the price kept going up, the number of channels kept going down, and they basically a few months back, I guess maybe a year ago now, really, they said, "Oh, we're not a cable provider anymore. We're an internet company, and we still have channels, but you have to have our internet to get them."
yeah. Yeah, so like it's one of those things. Like cutting the cord was fun. I mean, it had its
Well,
run.
now to stream, you got to have good internet, so you're going to pay that cost.
Yeah.
You can't have the
Nope. You gotta have
budget
top of the
internet.
line.
You
Nope.
got to have the good internet.
Gotta have the good internet, and I mean, you gotta have 17 different freaking channels. And honestly, I think that they're shooting themselves in the foot by not making their stuff of like, okay, have your like exclusive moment, then make it available that we can buy it and watch it.
Well,
on
some
whatever.
do. Angel does.
Yes, some of them do, but a lot of them do not.
So yeah, I'll have to follow up on that. I'm not sure if Daily Wire is selling any of their stuff outside of their streaming service yet or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would be happy to
obviously
buy it.
if you're not doing that, my whole contention has been, and this was back before Star Wars started putting their, before Lucasfilm started dropping things like The Mandalorian on 4K and Blu-ray, because it was like, first of all, Star Wars fans are generally speaking collectors. So if you put it out here, people are going to buy it. But secondly, like, people want the physical media. I mean, as much as I hated that Willow series, it had fans who will likely never watch that again.
Which is really unfortunate for them.
And so, and there were shows, that first season of the Mighty Ducks TV show. That's gone forever. And there was a whole list of those.
Yeah.
So this is, what we gave up when we just all went to streaming services.
I mean, we
Plus,
had a good run. We made it,
the fact that
20
like
years.
it's still, I'm still all about physical media. I'm still very much a physical media person. I'd much rather watch it on my disc than online. And, if you don't have it physical, they can take it away.
Yeah.
I go through every once in a while. Last time I was looking at my iTunes. I don't ever use my iTunes anymore. But the last time I pulled it up and looked, there's so many songs that I bought. They're just, I bought them 20 years ago, but they're gone.
Yeah.
They're not on there anymore. And so then you go, well, what did I pay for? And they say, well, you paid for the license to listen to it. And basically it expired. And it's the same thing with video games. When you buy a physical video game now, it's just a code to let you download the game online. You're not buying a game. In fact, Xbox, I'm sure PlayStation's the same way.
Don't
You
even
can't
have a
even
disc drive anymore.
well, some of them don't, but most of those games are unplayable offline. You have to have a gold account. You've got to be online to play them.
Yeah.
They don't have modes for playing alone
It's
by
another
yourself.
example of them forcing you to pay for their
Subscriptions.
service. There's a subscription to consume media that you already bought.
Yeah. Well, you don't own it. It's just a tax now.
Yeah, and you're not kidding on the rental fees. And also, it's become so much more difficult. Like, do you remember? Okay, here we go. Here I am. You remember the days when you could go to the video store and pick out what you wanted, look at all the things and pick out the one you wanted? Now you have to figure out where the hell to find it.
Yeah.
It's like you see people talking about this thing, and you're like, okay, where do you watch it? Do you want to pay $8 a month for this? No. Well, you can either pay $8 a month, or you can watch it on Tubi with 5 minutes of commercials every 10 minutes. That's not fun either.
Right.
Anyway.
So I don't know. I mean, that was all clearly a mistake. So all that to say, I think that the worst thing about this is, and look, the Daily Wire made a fantastic television show. I give them huge props for that.
Yeah.
Because, it is too many people out there that believe that it just can't be done unless you're one of the big studios. The big studios are too big. We're dealing with this Warner Brothers sale right now. And personally, I think that company needs to be split up. Like, not sold to another giant company. It needs to be split up. They all need to be split up.
Yeah.
It's really hurting. It's basically, you've reached the point where anytime it's the same thing that happened with video games. You have a small company comes along, makes a really great game, takes off, makes a great indie game, and they get snatched up by one of the big ones. They get bought out because these indie developers have sacrificed to get a game made.
Right.
And then somebody comes along and offers them millions of dollars to say, hey, we want your company and the rights to the game you made. Yeah. And then you go, well, I did the thing and now I never have to work again. Or I can basically go do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
And, if I have enough money, if I want to go sit in my basement and make indie games, I can just do that and don't have to worry about paying the bills.
Unless you signed a non-compete.
Yeah. But, it's
not any easier to be not one of the big players.
No, but the
thing is, it's worse for consumers. It's worse for, like the movie making industry has struggled and struggled and struggled.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not better for the consumer. It's not better for the workers. It's not better for the actors. The only people that it's better for has got to be the people at the top.
Yeah.
So I guess they're still making their money, so they don't really, I don't know. Eventually it's got to even out, right?
Well, we'll see where it goes. The thing is I think some of the studios are eyeballing AI. And AI is not there. It's, it can do some things really cool. I think it's a really nice tool in your tool belt. You can storyboard stuff really fast. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that AI is nowhere close on.
Here's what I think. Here's the market that I think AI really infringes on. And you can already see it. Like, if you ever scrolled through Andrew's grandmother's algorithm on Face, she just like constantly, she's like, hey, look at this. And it's some stupid, awful AI video with a chihuahua or a cat.
Yeah, my grandmother is apparently the the target demographic for AI Chihuahua videos. I don't know.
So bad.
They're really bad. And at some point I had to go, you do know those aren't real, right?
Well, yeah, but isn't it funny? Like, no.
It's really not.
It's just creepy and weird. But I do think that, the insert yourself into, Cinderella, that's coming. That is super soon. Insert yourself into whatever this movie is, put different people's faces in it.
Yeah. If the studios, it depends on what the studios, how much, the thing is, at some point the studios have to realize, because you've kind of got studios, it's what some of the negotiation hangups were over last time during the strikes, was what the future is going to look like with AI. But these studios have to realize that if they let that cat out of the bag, they can't put it back. That's the end of Hollywood if it happens the way that it potentially could.
But I have it on good authority that Disney has been actively working towards that for years. That's
Oh no, there's no doubt they've been working that way.
that's the end game.
I agree they that it's been working that way. But at some point, you have to think they're going to wake up and realize that they're not going to be the only ones with the tools. Because I think they thought they were going to be the ones with the tools.
Right. Turns out
And
that
it turns out that everyone's
basements.
going to have the tools.
Yeah.
And the thing is creating AI without the license for the IP, it's just theft. We've started seeing a lot of YouTube channels getting vanquished to the abyss.
Cracking down on that though is because they want to be the ones to do that,
Well,
not because they don't want it done.
Well, no, I agree, but that's their IP.
Yes.
Like they can't stop that if it's not their IP.
Yes.
But it's the people just blatantly making Star Wars movies with Luke and Leia and Han in them, and it's like,
yeah, no, you can't do that.
But also, like, digital artists have not overcome certain aspects of creating people digitally.
Walking. You wouldn't think that
Walking's the absolute worst. You watch these, look at this thing, and it's people running. And it's like, that is not how people move. Well, but when you get like groups of people running and their head, it's like everybody's head just stays completely level, and it's like looks like everybody's floating, and it's like that. And there's just certain aspects, the uncanny valley and that stuff. It's just like, I'm still not one of these people. I believe they're going to make stuff. But I also believe that as long as you can tell that it's AI, that there's a lot of people that are just going to outright reject it because it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have any last thoughts on the Pendragon Cycle?
No. Two more episodes to go. I'm hoping that it ends strong. It's one of those. I always feel like these days in a season of television, I reserve judgment on exactly how I feel about it till I see how it ends.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah. That's just how it goes. Oh my god. The guy had total fits of his feet. Yeah, it struggles.
Ro was starting another YouTube channel, right? It was called Bigfoot's Big Feets.
That's amazing.
But the show's great. I think it's sad that so many people will not see it because of where it's at. I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
This is it's not even just that it's from a very politically slanted studio. I mean, obviously I watch stuff from whoever's making the thing I want to see. I'm not that worried about that. But it's a fringe Red Feet Network. It's a very fringe, tiny streaming service. They only have certain types of content, right? So the content, there's not enough content for me to just have a ongoing subscription to it.
It's not an entertainment channel. It's a politics.
It's a political channel that happened to make a really good sword and sandal fantasy show.
But it is a shame that its success is going. Its
success will always be limited by where it's located on the internet, and even if it comes out on, even if it's put on physical, it still will have limited reach. The only way this could ever have reach, to really prove its potential, it would be if they eventually agreed to put it on something like Amazon. Other than that, it'll always it'll likely be forgotten about in 10 years, and it's a shame because it's really, really good.
Yeah.
But that's the curse of where we're at with entertainment.
Yeah.
It just is. I don't see any way around it.
Yeah.
But if you have it, Daily Wire Plus, or want to go get it, this is certainly worth a watch. And I think they do have a relatively cheap deal specifically for people to join for the run of this show.
Watch the run of the show. We just have to remember to cancel it when we're done.
Yeah, well, I mean, I ain't even gonna wait. I'm just gonna cancel it when the show. Our subscription runs, you know, a month and a half after the show ends. So,
So we'll just okay, that way.
so when the show ends, I'm just gonna cancel it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Like I said at the top of the show, of course, nobody was in here then. This will be Marisha's last show for a little bit. Marisha's going to work. So I'm sorry. It's just going to be me for a while. I'm sure some Padawans will be on, and I'm working on a couple of guests. Hey there, sci-fi fans. We hope you enjoyed this clip from a previous live stream of the Science Fictionary podcast. We hope you'll go check out other episodes. We hope you'll hit that like and that subscribe button. And please go check out all of our friends over at the Red 5 Network. And as always, may the Force be with you.